Hello, everybody. Happy May 11th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talent in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have an incoming post-grad. His name at Cheshire Academy, Zach Hrubiec. Zach, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
No problem. Happy to be here.
You know what, man, before we get into your time, or rather what will be your time at Cheshire Academy, let's go back to your days at Berlin. Now, your first 3 years, man, the numbers are just mind-boggling, and I mean that in a positive way. Every single year from your freshman year up, the numbers on the offensive side went up, and on the defensive side, you just straight out balled.
Yeah, I mean, freshman through junior year, to say the least, man, it was a movie. It really was. You know, I had a great supporting cast, coaches, teammates that embraced me when I came in young, and they knew I wanted to achieve greatness and really, I wanted to be a part and be a big part of something special. And, I really wore Berlin with pride. And, I just, people, I had a big supporting cast early that really, pushed for me, and it really did a lot. And, I felt like I owed it to them every time I got an opportunity to ball out on that field to do it. And, it was fun to say the least.
Now, going into your freshman year, I'm sure there was, an adjustment period for you as far as kind of just getting used to the high school level football.
For sure. Well, coming in, I was coming in to play linebacker, and I started coming into camp as a third string linebacker, not, whatever. And they moved my position a week in to outside linebacker. And I don't know if you know, I was behind Malachi Burby, who was at Rutgers, and now he's transferring to URI. Very good player, and I was behind him. And our defensive line had a little hole in it at a D end right next to him down the line. And I talked to our defensive coordinator because that summer I worked on a lot of D-line stuff, just thinking, a possibility of maybe having to go to D-line in a pinch because, I just wanted to get on the field. And I saw that was the best scenario to get on early. So that summer I really worked on it. And then the DC didn't really want to move me to D-line because I was only 5'10", 200 pounds at the time. I wasn't the biggest kid, but I felt like, my quickness and, my technique, I could do it. And so after weeks of asking, they moved me there 2 weeks or a week before our game scrimmage against Guilford. And they put me there, and that scrimmage, I did really well. And, the rest is history. They believed in me. The defensive coordinator, after one scrimmage, believed in me. They gave me a start over a senior who, paid his dues and definitely worked hard. And, I just appreciated them giving me the opportunity, and then I never looked back. I never did.
There had to be some kind of, in some ways I always feel like everything happens for a reason. And I think your freshman year was probably being at the level that you were at because you were able to pick the brain of Malachi. And, I'm sure he gave you so much wisdom. And as a freshman, you were just like a sponge. What did he kind of, preach to you your freshman year?
Well, you know what? It was crazy because the upperclassmen, I thought they would resent me at first. And they'd be like, no, we don't want this freshman on the field. This is our team. And it was actually the opposite. They embraced me. And they said, don't hold back. Get on the field. Go and get every opportunity. Because a lot of freshmen, when they come in, they're like deer in headlights, right? They're like new. They don't want to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. And with me, I wanted it all. I wanted to be a Friday night football player. I wasn't interested and playing on Thursday afternoons or Saturday mornings, JV freshman. I wanted to be a varsity football player. And when I got there, I asked questions. I asked them out, how the game, is it different? The speed, all that. And they really taught me the ways early on because our first game going in that year was Bloomfield. So we were going into a dogfight offer. I needed to be ready. And I give it to the seniors because they, especially through the scrimmages and stuff, like, at first I might do a little mistake here, there, whatever. They never, demoted me. They just pushed me and said, go and get it and achieve what you want to achieve. Because they knew my mindset from the grip was just a little bit different. And I wanted to be great. That's all. I really, at the end of the day, just wanted to be remembered and represent Berlin well. And I think through 3 years I did that.
No, I think you were remembered in a positive way, not just for on the field, but off the field too. But, I think, for the seniors, when you were a freshman, to understand that, okay, this kid, if we have him, we have a chance to do some big things. Shows the kind of maturity they had because, at the high school level, there's a class, there's a group of kids that are like, no, this guy, he's not, they kind of act in an immature way because not so much because they don't want to win, but because they want their own. And I think for Berlin as a whole, as a program, the one thing I've noticed broadcasting in the state of Connecticut is that Berlin seems to me to be like a family. They're like all in it together. Every now and again, you'll get a bad seed, a bad egg, but more
Yes.
often than not, you're going to have the camaraderie in a family kind of atmosphere.
Exactly. And, that's one thing, obviously coming into my freshman year, we got a new head coach, Coach Joe Simwitz. And, that's one thing he preaches, man. But he wants us to be a family, and it's a player driven program. And he wants our season to be how he's going to support us and motivate us through everything. But, what the players, he's going to put a lot on the players to, take responsibility. It's their team. And, it's a player driven program now. And, it really is, and I think that's what makes it so close is when the players take control of a lot of the things, they communicate with the underclassmen. It gets, the friendship and bond bigger because, when freshmen are talking to seniors, sophomores, juniors, there was always communication. There was never a thing where seniors didn't communicate with freshmen. It was a thing where everyone was in it together and it was a total group effort. And that's what the biggest thing I noticed through my 4 years was Coach Joe really preached a family. Everyone's in it together. It's not just seniors, upperclassmen. You know what I mean? It was really a group effort every year. And Coach Joe preached that. And that's one thing I'll remember from him. He wanted to be a full team and family effort. And it really was.
And the family, I think, probably was needed at the utmost time. September 12th versus Tolland, second quarter. It was on a carry. We were playing running back, and the injury happened. Tell me about just, going into that day. Did you have? I mean, I know sometimes, and I've talked to a bunch of athletes. Some tell me, they didn't know at all that today was going to be a bad day.
Yeah.
Others told me that they've woken up and just felt like something was off. The day felt like it was a little weird. Did you have something like that on that day?
Well, what's weird about that is it's crazy because coming into my senior year in all honesty, I felt like Superman, man. After my junior year and, everything and the work I put in for my senior year, I really felt like I had goals and I really felt like I was going to achieve them. And that day I had nothing ever, when I'm on that field, nothing crosses my mind like that. You know what I'm saying? Getting hurt and stuff. So when it happened, it was a huge shock because that was the last thing I ever would expect. And I didn't even get to come out the gates. I got my first quarter and boom, it was all done. And that was the last thing I expected. You know what I'm saying? That I knew there was going to be a lot of wear and tear on my body, with the season and, what I was going to have to do. And, just the role I wanted to play, the role I wanted to play on my team. And when that happened, man, it was the most unexpected thing. I went into that season, I went into that game feeling like Superman and like invincible. And, the injury was very humbling though. It humbled me. And it's obviously, everything happens for a reason, but, it definitely made me mature and grow. And, it was just, to answer your question, no, I didn't expect it. And that was the last thing on my mind, to be completely honest.
Now, the aftermath of the injury, obviously rehab is something, anything broken is grueling. Arm, leg, elbow, chest, I mean, you name it. It's going to be a grueling rehab. For you, how difficult was it that you had to go through the rehab process and knowing that senior year over, I can't go out and fight with my boys, the senior class for one
Yeah.
last.
Well, and that was probably the toughest pill to swallow. You know what I mean? And especially, so I got hurt September 12th. I got my surgery 10 days later because the swelling had to go down. I broke and displaced my fibula and fractured my ankle. Got my surgery, 7 screws and a plate. So it was pretty significant. And so for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the recovery, I wasn't rehabbing. I was just trying to get my ankle. You know what I mean? Couldn't do any rehab for the first 2-3 weeks post surgery. So I'm literally was sitting in a wheelchair just watching my brothers that I consider my brothers on the field go to war without me. And I felt the burden. I felt it on myself that I let my team down. Now, even though they never thought that, and none of the coaches ever let me think that, deep down, it's a tough pill to swallow. You sort of let your team down. You know what I mean? You said, because I would be vocal about it. I said the things I was going to do, and I didn't achieve them. And up until that point, freshman, sophomore, junior year, everything I said I was going to do, I did, and I achieved. And when I couldn't do that my senior year, it was sad at first, but it was humbling at the same time. And it made me look in the mirror and realize some things. So, it was a tough pill to swallow. And during the season, it was definitely tough. That was the toughest part. It's like being upset, thoughts, obviously like, oh my God, this is it and stuff. But postseason, the
Mhm.
biggest thing was reflecting and learning from it, because I didn't want it to drag on and affect my mindset. You know what I'm saying? So during the season, absolutely, it was very tough. I couldn't put into words every Friday night having to sit there and just knowing what I could have done or maybe help the team. But that's just, it was tough. But postseason, my biggest thing was, after the Maloney game, just to get back in the same mindset I was before. Like I was training in July for the season in August.
Yeah, and I think, the reflection aspect is interesting because a lot of times with injuries, you can view it in one of two ways. You can mourn and say, woe is me, why was it me? Or you can look at it on the other side because, I believe in the Almighty, I believe in God, I believe in that He
Yeah,
has a plan for
absolutely.
things. And I
Exactly.
think, He gives, and I have always believed that He puts the toughest task to people who He believes that they can handle it. And for
Of
something like this, He chose you, not saying that he wishes injury, but you
course. No,
you
yeah.
you have the injury, but it sounds like you were able to kind of, put yourself around it and not be in that pity party, but you
Yeah.
wanted to fight, you wanted to grind, and you're going to be a better person and player because of it.
Now that's a great point, Chris, because I completely agree. And but during the season, I won't lie. If I wasn't sitting in that scooter or that wheelchair feeling bad for myself and
Oh, yeah.
complaining,
Yeah.
I was. But once the season ended, it took me about 2 weeks after the season to sit down and just really reflect. And then I just sort of flipped the switch, and I've sort of just, I'm on a mission, man. It's a revenge tour. In my opinion, I've been a dog locked in a cage since September 12th, and I'm hungry, man. And it's been a long time since I was locked in a cage and hungry. So when I just can't wait, hopefully this clears up and we get football season, man. That's all I want, because, I'm going to put a lot of work into this, and it will pay off. And that's why I just need the season to come.
I would be scared for every either offense, defense, wherever you end up playing the most or first for Cheshire Academy. I feel bad
Yeah.
for anyone who has to go up against you in practice because
Yeah.
they're going to be basically the dogs coming out.
And that's what I'm sort of been saying. I haven't been boasting it or going out there and telling people, but that's my mindset, and that's just, I'm just on a mission, man. I set out a mission when I was, since I could remember, knowing everything my dad did and what he accomplished. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
just I've had a mission since I was 7 years old to go to play Division I football and play for free, and
Mhm.
you know and I, sadly I've not completed that mission yet. But it's coming, and I'm not gonna stop until I do. So that's just my mindset on things. You know what I mean? I set my mind at 7 years old saying I'm going to do this, and ever since then I've been chasing it. And it's within the reach, right? It's really close. It's just a matter of taking those final steps and just you know getting there.
Not everyone's path is always kind of straight lined. Everyone is going to go different ways to hopefully achieve their dream. And for you, your path has led you to Cheshire Academy. You said a quote in the Bristol Press right before you made your decision to go to Cheshire Academy. When I
Yeah.
got hurt, they reached out to me and were with me through the whole process. Tell me
Hmm.
about that because I think that's something that a lot of people kind of lose sight of because sometimes if they're going to go somewhere like let's say a Division 1 team,
Yeah.
Division 2, Division 3,
Hmm.
if they're injured, a lot of times, depending on the program, they may say, oh, maybe we should just kind of put this kid on the back burner. But Cheshire Academy stuck with you through and
Hmm.
through.
Well, like I said, man, Cheshire Academy was there through the whole way. Before I went into high school, when I was in high school, and then the injury, and after the injury, man, it was tough because once I got hurt, I lost the text from recruiters stopped. You know what I mean? A lot of coaches stopped reaching out, stuff like that, which I expected. And when that happened, it was a tough pill to swallow because I realized I was so close, and there was a lot of schools that said, after a couple of games of film, this opportunity could be on the table, and it was really exciting. And so when that happened, it was tough. But when the one person that did reach out was Coach Dykman, and he stuck with me and he said, Zach, I know this is a tough pill to swallow, and I'm sure you're getting a ton of texts. Just know you always have a home here at CA and this and that. And he was just very supportive. You know what I mean? And through that whole process, there was, a lot of prep schools in the mix, and some backed off and didn't really believe in me. In Cheshire Academy, and not just Coach Dykman, the admissions, that whole the whole community itself really believed in me, and I just appreciated that. And not a lot of people did, not a lot of prep schools did, not a lot of colleges did. So to see that and to see them believe in me and Coach Dykman tell me, I believe in you, Zach, you will come back from this,
Mhm.
in one of the final decision phone calls, you know what I mean? It just meant the world, man. Cause not a lot of people still believed in me outside of my family and stuff. So, and close friends. So when he did that, man, it just, he's big on family and, another thing that, he cares about every person in his program. And that's
Mhm.
what I noticed the most is it's just not another kid coming to the program. It's like taking in a son. And that's what Coach Dykman believes in. And that's what led me to Cheshire Academy. And I'm looking back, I'm happy I made that decision. It's definitely the best place for me and the best spot. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
You forgot about the broadcaster here who tweeted at you and said, "Hey, brighter futures ahead. There's a brighter path here. I know you're going to work hard." You forgot about me, man. Three
Hey,
tweets I
listen,
at you.
hey, I like the tweet. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I
I
gave,
know, I know. I'm just busting you.
no,
You know.
I know.
But no, seriously though, on a serious note, I thought this was really funny. Same article in the Bristol Press
Yeah.
that Coach Dykman recruited you longer, and this is throughout, the time that, then he dated his wife. I
Yeah.
I started laughing when I read that. But we
So
know how true that is.
so I was in Coach Dykman's office junior year, going into senior year. And I was, it was just, he reached out and he knew I was invested into my public school team, but he's like, just come on a visit and just chat with me. I'm like, okay, it's not like I'm going to diss an opportunity, Cheshire Cat. You know what I mean? It's a
Mhm.
great, so I went up there and we talked. And right before 8th grade, when the whole coaching situation went down and there was a new coach, there was a rumor that it wasn't going to be an in-town Berlin guy, and it was going to be a new guy who was going to change the program and everything. And that was not what I wanted. And so I was looking at other options, obviously, like anybody would.
Mhm.
And Cheshire Academy was really close, and it was really close to happening. And then, the financial for a 4-year investment, financial comes into play, and I'm young, and also we got an in-town guy who's on the staff for 8 to 10 years, I believe, Coach Joe. So I ended up staying, and they understood, and it was just an even thing. Like, okay, this could be maybe a future option.
Mhm.
And junior year, I went in, and another thing, it just didn't really work out. They knew I was invested in my public school team, and that's just how it sort of happened. But even after that, when I was sitting in the junior, when we were having the conversation, he's like, Zach, in all honesty, I understand you're a big public school guy and stuff, but man, I've recruited you longer than my wife, and me and my wife dated for a year, and I asked her to marry me. So it was just really funny in the moment, and
Mhm.
it's a great guy, man, and he's always just he's always been a fan of mine, and I'm a fan of his, and he has a great program. So he's just a real down to earth guy. Like, not too many coaches are gonna say that to you, right? And he's that's how he is, man. He's an awesome coach, awesome guy.
No, and it's kind of like the relationship that you guys were able to build throughout the years. It's not like it's just a 1-year thing. It's
Yeah,
a multiple year thing where it was through your high school career. He wasn't trying to take you away because he knows that your love was public school. And again, the injury happened, and not to say that anyone wishes to get hurt, but there's a plan for everything. And with your
exactly.
injury came an opportunity for you to go where you've been recruited and where a coach has loved you, what it seems like, as a player and as a person for years. So now you
Most,
get to go play for him, and and it's not like Cheshire Academy is some slouch. They're a pretty good program.
no, yeah, we have some guys coming in, so we got some dudes. So Coach Dykman's done a great job. Our defensive coordinator, who Coach Malison, he's done a great job as excuse me. He's done a great job as well, bringing guys in, and we're really looking for this squad. Everyone, watch out for Cheshire Academy. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm looking forward. I'm going to keep track of the academy,
Awesome,
keep track of the football program
for
itself.
sure.
It's,
Great league, man. It's great football.
yourself, and there's some other players too from in the area that I
Absolutely,
got to keep track of the Connecticut guys. Have to.
absolutely. CT guys, man. CT.
Got to represent. I mean, this is why it's called CT Sports Talent, because you got to represent the talents that are in Connecticut.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just, yeah, man, it's just a great opportunity. I'm just grateful. You know what I mean? Because a lot of prep schools, like junior year going into senior year, there was other prep schools that reached out, and I was deciding, and when I didn't, they held it against me, and it wasn't the smoothest. Senior year when I was hurt, it wasn't like they wanted to embrace me. So to see Coach Dykman be one of the very few, if not, to still believe in me and not hold it against me and understanding my situation and where I was coming from, it meant a lot. And he's just that's the type of guy he is. He's a realist. So
Zach, we got a couple minutes left. I really do appreciate you being able to come on the show. Last question for you is, I know that at Cheshire Academy you're going to be playing a couple positions, and I know potentially at the next level there's programs that view you either at one position or another. what
Yeah.
is your ultimate goal as far as the Cheshire Academy season and then
Mhm.
going forward?
Well, obviously, I want to, like I said, I want to, be a Division I football player. My ideal situation would to be a fullback at a big Division I program and be on a full scholarship, because I feel like at the college level, that's where I can succeed the most at, is the fullback H-back position. And I'll play wherever on the field, obviously, wherever I can get on the field, and, or whatever I'll do. But
Mm.
I just feel like my most success I can have is at the fullback H-back position. And I just think that's where it's going to go. And, obviously anything can happen, but if I was 6'3" or 6'4", maybe I'd be a defensive end. But, sometimes you're just not given those tools and intangibles. You just got to work with what you can work with. So that's just sort of where I see myself. Where I'm going to end up, I couldn't tell you, man. I'm going in there and just giving it my all. And at the end of the day, on Thanksgiving, when I come home, I want to sit down with my family and tell them I did everything I could and I have zero regrets. I worked as hard as I could. I took full advantage of the opportunity and I played as hard as I could. And then I'll let the cards fall where they fall, man. Because at this point, that's what you got to do.
It seems like though you've been able to do as much as you can while you were healthy, and then even through your injury, you're doing everything possible to make sure that you put yourself in the right place and the right at the right time, and that you're doing the necessary work to be able to keep your body ready, especially because of the injury that you dealt with.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's exactly. I can't. It's tough because sometimes you say, you sometimes doubt, why are you doing this? Why are you doing all this? But at the end of the day, man, it, I tell myself, man, you're doing this for a reason, and I think this is what I was put here to do, and I believe that, and that's why I'll never stop until I accomplish my goals. And so that's just my mindset on things, and that's just sort of how it's taken me through my journey.
And your journey is going to lead you to Cheshire Academy. And the goal, I'm sure, although some would say maybe it's a little bit too high, I would not count anyone who puts their full mind, body, effort, and soul into it. And it seems like Zach, you've put everything you had, and hopefully there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel, and that will be a Division I offer for a full ride, because it seems to me that you deserve it, man.
No, I really, hey, that means a lot, Chris. And obviously, I appreciate it, and I want to say thank you for bringing me on the show, man. I love doing this stuff, and it was a pleasure, man. If you ever need me again, just call me.
You're welcome to come back on anytime. Seriously, I don't
Ab-
care. Come
no,
on,
absolutely. Let's make it happen. Let's get a couple guys.
you have to. But hey, I hope you and your family stay safe. Thank you
Absolutely.
again, man. I really do appreciate
No,
it.
no problem. Hope you and yours stay safe as well, and talk soon. Thank you.
I'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.